What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing?
Doing very well, Gabe. It's
Very
good to be
good, very good.
Good. Brian, thank you for jumping on. Joseph, thank you for jumping on.
My pleasure.
Of course. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here as always.
Yeah, so we have a bunch of people kind of jumping on to see this first little group chat on that T16. We got Ben. What's up, Ben? How you doing? Desert Gamers, McFly. What's up, Chris? Scott, what's up, Scott? Scott and Janine. Yeah, hopefully you guys jump on this model. It'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Jens, what's up, Jens? Or should I say howdy, Jens?
Howdy, exactly. Howdy, partner.
Yeah, right. Steven, what's up? Hey, David, Steven. What's up? David, I commented on Instagram because your picture looks so sharp that I was like, I think he got a new phone because that picture you posted on there looks so great. Pete, what's up, Pete? Yeah, we're gonna be shooting. Yeah, we're gonna be shooting Womp Rats.
Very nice.
People are starting to pop in here and there. Yeah. Made one out of cassette tapes and car. That's awesome.
Oh, that is really cool.
Yeah. So today we jump on. Michael's on a quick little family retreat, getting some quality family time. So good for him. And I know it's good just in general for his health.
I'm going to give him crap about this when I talk to him again, because he's always telling me if I can't be on the show, if I'm like, if I have some family thing or, you had your daughter's birthday the other night and he was like, she's going to have one next year.
I know.
I'm going to tell him, I'm going to give him a hard time.
Right. Be like, there's 6 other days in the week, Michael. Come on.
That's right.
So look, we wanted to talk about that T16 kit, right? Mm-hmm. And more specifically, let me bring that up really quick. It's for Masterpiece Models, and you know John very well, right?
Yeah, I know John Geigel really well. He has a company called Masterpiece Models. It's located here in Vancouver, Washington. And he has a facility where he fabricates kits of all different kinds. I mean, he's done some Randy Cooper kits, does a lot of Jason's kits, and his castings are really, really nice, very clean, very well done. And so, I mean, as you know, and you've talked about the last couple of times you've been on, Gabe, you said how amazing, how detailed all the parts were, how the pieces were reproduced with such detail. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's insane, man. There's something going on here where I can't share always my laptop. I might have to switch, but let me see if I can pull it up. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I might have to just share my entire screen here. Let's see if that works. No, it's not showing Safari for some reason. All right. There's some technical difficulties I have to figure out. So I might just log really quick because we need to share pictures. We need to share videos. Right. You guys wouldn't mind just taking over for like minutes. I'll be right back.
No problem. Okay, looks like the show's ours.
Yeah.
Hold on one second here. Oh. So as I was talking about John's company, Masterpiece Models, for those who are interested, I highly suggest you go to his website and check out all of the different, models that he has available. I've gotten several of them in the past. Namely, he does a beautiful Sputnik model.
Okay.
So of the satellite.
Oh wow.
I mean, these are all kits. They're resin kits, but they're really, really nice and well done. There's he does a time machine.
Oh, there
Hey, Gabe.
Yeah, it was some weird update that I wanted to do, and all right. So now I can show.
You're clear.
Okay. Yeah, you're much clearer too. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So he also does. I was talking about all the other different types of models that John offers. He does a very a 1/6 scale time machine, the George Powell time machine from 1960 from the movie The Time Machine, and he also does one from the rebooted movie in 2000 that was patterned by Randy Cooper. Yeah. And it's really beautiful. He did that. The rocket ship from Disneyland that you have, Gabe. You got that.
I ordered that, and they're just such clean castings, and that's the one thing that I'm like, I'm super impressed, because I've worked with resin parts, especially like when I was doing my art too. So there's a lot of cleanup involved, but with these, there's really very little cleanup, which is it's crazy. So Jason, took all the parts, and he basically he sent them, I'm sure, to John to cast them. And basically all these little greeblies are real found parts, right? That are casted basically exactly the same. And the detail is insane. Like, you could literally, like, little tiny letters, right, that are inscripted, like in the little tape dispenser thing. You can literally see the letters still there. I mean, it's highly detailed. It's amazing. And it's only what, $150, $129.99.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if he has it up there yet, but along those same lines, I gave him one of these, the vintage Patterson Trident viewers, and he actually disassembled it and made molds and casted it, and he casted the clear lenses. So in clear, they're optically clear. So I'm not sure if he has it up yet, but he probably will be offering it soon. But if he does, you can get all 6 of them and put them together and paint them with the lenses for probably the kit's probably going to be the price of what one of these would cost you on eBay.
Right.
So
no, I mean, and it's great. And as you guys have heard me talk about, the T16 is one of my favorite ships, probably my favorite ship. Just because, again, it for me, I love the prop replicas, and this is a prop replica, right? It's kind of this weird hybrid, because it's studio scale, because basically, it was a model that Colin Cantwell did, but they ended up using the actual model in the movie, right? Everyone knows, Luke is playing with it. So I always wanted that ship, and now we get to build it. So I know a few people were buying it and waiting for some of the stuff. So figured we'd get it started and kind of get a little support group going, just to trade little tips and whatnot. So Brian has his ready to go. Joseph, you're getting it, but I think you're gonna have Jason work on it, right?
Yeah, and I got the kit, but I haven't picked it up yet. So yeah. Scott, good choice. Yeah, you guys are gonna have fun with this.
What's up, Evan? Yeah.
Hey, Evan.
Yeah, hey, Robin, what's up? Sean, what's up?
Great to see you guys.
Yeah, great seeing you guys. So let's kind of jump in really quick, and I want to show the instructions, because I think that's a great place to start, just to get an idea. So everyone that's thinking about buying this, you could kind of get a feel for what you're working with, right? So obviously in the front it shows the picture, and that's Jason's model that he built. Beautiful, right? Shows you basically step by step how to assemble the frame, and then how to attach the greeblies. And I think honestly, like I've never built a model like myself. Like, yeah, I did the R2 and I painted some things, but like little models like this, I've never done. So I was pretty intimidated at first, but honestly, it's pretty easy as far as like it's step by step. Obviously you want to have multiple references up as you're building it, but it's it's doable, guys. It's very doable. So we were gonna have Jason on today and with some surprise guests, and maybe they'll still jump on, but they're on a retreat right now in Connecticut. Is that where they were, Jason?
Yeah.
Or right?
Yeah, I think they're in. I mean, they're with Mike. I'm not sure if they went elsewhere altogether or if they're all still there, but I think they're in Connecticut. Yeah, it's
Right.
the Wonderfest crew.
Yeah, so they're kind of they're saying, they're kind of hanging out with some of their friends. So we'll see if they jump on, because we definitely have some questions for, and it'd be great to get them. I mean, we'll eventually have Jason on regardless to answer some of these questions, but basically I wanted to show you up front kind of what the parts look like, right? And like I said, it is a lot, and there's a lot of little tiny parts. You do have to do some modifications, right? So for example, like drill a hole, but I mean, it's not that hard, right? You can drill a hole. And then it's more of just kind of following the directions and make sure that everything's lined up correctly. And like I said, what I was doing is I had Jason's website up, I had this tutorial up, or like the instructions, and then I had like the original Colin Cantwell one inside of the book, where I would just go back and reference whatever I needed. So yeah, so basically it is, yeah.
Okay.
It's a great reference. So this is, remember last week I was talking about the piece that you have to cut? This is the piece you have to cut. But I took a video and I could show all those videos today. And then obviously this. So it is very involved, as you can see. I mean, it's tedious, absolutely tedious, but I think at the end it's going to be such a cool thing to have, right?
Yeah. And the fact that he's supplying you with the acrylic pieces and they are prescribed, that really helps.
Right. Yeah. So I wanted to also show something really quick, because there's a lot of references out there, right? When we're talking about the original T16 references, there's a few out there. Let me see if I could pull them up really quick. Because I want to show there's two different books that have really good references for it, but you have to watch out, because one of them is basically like pre-filming, and then the other one is like currently how it is. So this is an image from the Chronicles book, and you could see here that it's basically shiny and new, right? It's not weathered. A lot of the color is very, very solid. There's not a lot of, weathering. You could see here. Now, one of the things that you got to look at is those skis that I was talking about. So see the skis on the wings?
Yeah.
So here in this book, you could still see that they're there. Right. And I think that's one of the kind of key indicators that it's the old one. And then here you go. As you can see, it's pretty clean. There's really no indication of weathering or anything like that. See, nice and clean.
Now, Gabe, this was a concept model, wasn't it? Before, and then they just used it in filming. Yes. So
they used it. Right. So then there's this other, I think it's still also a Chronicles book, and it has these pictures. And I got these from Marcel. Marcel sent these over.
Right.
And here you could see that it's kind of further into the future. This was probably taken out probably in the 80s or 90s, right? And here you could see it's highly weathered now. It's just the white has aged. You could immediately tell it's missing all the little parts, right? It's missing the parts that stick out of this main gun. It's missing the skis now. And I actually read on Jason, because they did a write-up, and maybe I'll pull it up on StarWars.com about Jason and his T16. And he talks about that. He talks about that at one point, perhaps maybe even for taking pictures, they laid it down and then the skis just kind of broke off. See, like right here. And see how it's missing the skis now?
Yeah. And it looks like it's missing more on one wing than on the other.
Yeah. Right. And it's missing these little tiny, like, little guns, antenna. I don't know what to call them, but it's missing those. And obviously you could see it's just more weathered. This is a good one. This is a good. Right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I want to show you that. So I was talking about that little, maybe 1 or 2 millimeter red ring. You could only see it in the Chronicles book. Let me see if I could pull it up. Oh, did I not? Let me see if I uploaded the picture. If I didn't upload the picture, I'll grab it right now. No, I didn't upload the picture. Give me a second.
I see what you're saying about stuff sticking out the back. What?
Oh, no. Okay, so this one. Well, you could kind of see it. You see this little part right here? That's the little red ring that I'm telling you that's around the chrome rim, right? Because it's a little tractor rim that's back there. It's literally a little tiny bit of red. And if you go on Jason's website and you look at his also has that. So let me pull it up. So again, I think Jason's is a perfect just reference, right? Because his attention to detail is, I mean, obviously it's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, here you actually look. He talks about. He says the original still exists. Well, let me bring it up. Probably easier. So on Jason's website, he talks about that. He talks about how. See, the original still exists in the Lucasfilm archives. At some point in the 1990s, it was badly damaged and repaired by ILM. Their best reference they had. See, that's how, I guess, the 90-degree angles laid flat against the wing as the skis broke off a long time ago before filming. Oh, so I guess you don't see them in the actual film. Yeah. So that actually might change things. Whether I want to put them on or
like the concept model, or do you want it to look like the filming model?
Right. So yeah, man. The other part is here. So the red plastic on the other side of the main sail is a twizzle stick. So I think he means, right, like that little red part, right? Like that tiny little. I thought it was paint.
Yeah, I did too.
So I was like, oh, well, yeah, I guess not. But Jason, here you could see the red. You see the red on it? Oops.
Right.
You kind of just barely see. So just those little tiny details that. Rear. Yeah. Let me see if I could find a good one that shows the red though.
That's some rear.
There you go. So you see how it has a little tiny bit of red
on the chrome
around
part.
It.
That's hard to see. The chrome is so reflective.
Yeah, on the outer part of the chrome part.
Yeah.
It is, but it's definitely
there.
This piece.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, zoom in on that, Gabe. You should be able to see the red.
That's as close as I can get.
Oh, really? Okay.
But yeah, you could
Yeah.
definitely see it right there. And then the other interesting thing again is the distance, right? The distance that you're gonna end up gluing all this stuff from that back piece. You could kind of see that the rim sticks out a little bit from the tape, right? Because this is a tape dispenser, like a vintage tape dispenser roll for splicing. It's splicing tape, which I ended up finding a vintage one. Let me show it to you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it just came in, and so that's why it's a different color.
Oh, that's
wow.
great.
It's the vintage. Yeah. So that's my one little piece of vintage, like found part. Uh, but yeah, so let's see. It was weathered in New Hope also, so I think no skis weather and screen use variant. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I guess we'd have to get some like high res shots from the movie, right, to see like exactly where the weathering is and exactly how much weathering. Because I would love to weather it. I mean, I think it looks way better if it's weathered.
Gabe,
So I was just kind of up. Yeah.
the A New Hope, version that's on Disney Plus, it's 4K, right?
Should be.
Ooh,
Yeah.
maybe, yeah.
So you should be able to like freeze frame those, and
Well,
I don't
maybe
know if you can actually save the photos though, because they have all those protections now. When you try and do screenshots, it'll just
so
be
maybe
black.
somebody out there, if someone out there good with screenshots, if possible, if you guys could grab some screenshots from A New Hope, that'd be great, and to kind of share them on the group. Just because I think it's well worth it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of little variations and little ways to kind of attack this thing. I would also love to see someone attack this like in a totally new way, right? Like using different colors, just kind of a total variant, right? Instead of a replica. That'd be really
Mhm.
cool. Like how people do with X-Wings, right?
Right.
Oh, stream through Firefox. All right, all right. We're gonna have to
Okay.
try that. Yeah, David says. All right. So then, yeah, we're gonna have to try to get some good screenshots of it. So I wanted to show kind of some of my like the process that I started doing, and I know Brian, we talked about it because you're in that process right now too, right?
Yeah.
You're clean, or
Yeah.
did you already clean up all your parts?
I cleaned the parts. I spent an afternoon cleaning all the parts, and between using an X-Acto and really kind of cutting some of that stuff off, but then almost using the back of the X-Acto blade as a scraper, and then with a little
Yeah.
bit of like 400 grit or an 800 grit sandpaper, I was able to go in and
Yeah.
get some of that stuff. And if you've got some modelers and stuff have the
Wonder
tools,
Cutter.
the dentist tools and that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, I was gonna suggest something. When I was at John Geigel's shop, and we were working on a project together, and he was showing me how to clean some of these resin parts. He has what's called a Wonder Cutter,
Oh,
and and I ended up getting one because I loved using it so much. And I think Jason has one too. It's basically an ultrasonic. It's an ultrasonic X-Acto knife, and it will just cut through. I mean, you can just cut through the resin. You can cut through pretty much anything, and it is amazing. And I absolutely loved it, and I bought one because it was amazing to use. So if anybody is planning on building a lot of resin models, then it's worth the investment.
Yeah, I just saw it. I just googled it. It's on Micromark for $3.99.
Yep, that's the price. It's $400.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can get it on Micromark. You can get it on Amazon, but it's very, very useful. I actually shot a little video. Gabe, do you want me to send it?
Did you? Yeah, please send that over.
Okay, hold on one
I'm
second.
just pulling up all my videos from what I like, how to clean up all this stuff, or at least what I was doing to clean up.
I'm totally gonna have to get one of these.
Yeah, let me send you the video that I took.
Okay. All right.
There we go. Gabe, how do you want me to send this to you?
Just text it to me. It's probably the easiest.
Text it to you?
Yeah.
Gabe, did you have in your resin pieces, you had some that were really thin and then the others that were like thicker?
Yeah, there's definitely some that were definitely a lot thinner. Yes.
Yeah. The thicker ones, I ended up sanding down some of that extra that was on there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They would be like,
So like one of them you have. Yeah, go ahead.
It was like a millimeter of extra because it was just the thicker stuff that it was the plate or whatever that was on kind of like thing. And then, so I sand some of that off, but then I kept what was there in the actual greebly.
Yeah, there was one that I like. You see this little part right there? I had to sand it down really tight in order to fit in there. But yeah, so this is how far I am. So, and I took the blue off because obviously there's some, I think Brian still has the blue on it.
Yeah, I've got, that's where I'm at.
Yeah. I already started kind of scratching it up a little, like sanding it down just a tiny bit so I could start laying some paint on it, just so I could kind of see how hard it's going to be to paint. But yeah, it is just insane. Like the detailed the details on it. All right, so you sent me that video, right, Joseph?
I did. Did you receive it?
Yeah, I just got it.
Yeah, you can. Hey Ben. Yeah, you want to show it? It's the only thing is when you're cutting styrene with it, because it's vibrating at like 40,000 hertz. It has a tendency to melt the plastic as you go through it, so it'll leave a little ridge. You'll see that with this tester. Yeah, so it was kind of hard to do this. I didn't want to cut myself, so I put the tester between my knees, and then I was trying. So this is a piece of PVC, right? And it's and it's I don't know. It's maybe like a little more than an eighth of an inch thick, so it's not something that you could just cut through, right? You'd have to score and break it. But this knife, is it not? Is the video a little choppy? Yeah, I mean,
you're good. Oh wow, it's like butter.
Yeah, it just goes through it like butter.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that's great. That's great to know.
Is it good in your hand? Is it not like it's not?
Oh, you don't feel you don't feel any vibrations.
Okay.
It's totally you don't feel it at all. Now, Gabe, I don't know how everyone else is seeing it, and I'm showing the like full thickness of that's how thick that plastic was, and it's very dense, and I just went right through it. Yeah, it's amazing. Wow. It's an amazing thing to work with. I mean, you have to be careful. You don't want to cut yourself with it. So that'll go right through tissue and everything. It's so you don't want to get your finger with that.
Yeah. So let me see if I could find one of the videos where I'm basically showing how to clean these parts. Here's one. Let me see if I can bring that up. I don't know why it's so bright. Does that look super bright to you?
It is super washed out, but maybe once you once you hit play, maybe it'll darken down.
No, it's weird. It's not. Do you see that?
Oh,
Wow.
It's still super
there.
bright, right?
It's all washed out.
That's so weird. I don't know. This new I have this new MacBook, and for some reason it just doesn't want to show anything. Like it hates
Gabe,
StreamYard.
How are you connected? Because the video on your end is really choppy and pixelated.
Is it choppy right now?
Yeah.
Well, it's choppy and it's pixelated. And like when you played my
pixelated.
video, there were only a few second chunks that you saw of the video. So I don't know if you're not hardwired and you're on Wi-Fi, that might be why.
Let me restart. Let me try this again, all right? Get you guys. I'll be right back.
Yeah, that hobby knife looks really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I would recommend it, especially if you're doing a lot of that kind of work. You will love using it.
Oh yeah. That's totally up my alley.
Yeah, I figured.
As a graphic designer, 30 years, I've got a lot of experience with the X-Acto blade. So, but some people don't, and so I don't recommend it. If I just get out the sandpaper, and some of it would peel away just with your thumbnail. You could just get in there and pop it off. But some of the stuff is thicker, and then that's where you need something to cut it.
It's funny. I have a couple of X-Acto blades here, but I'm so accustomed to using scalpels from work that I actually just bring those home and I use those on. They're extremely sharp, but they're not as durable. They don't last as long as the X-Acto blade. But yeah, when you first use them, they just,
Yeah.
This is what I use. These are the X-Acto.
Oh yeah.
This is the scalpel that I use. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a guy, because you're using the point on the X-Acto blade,
right?
And then there was a guy that he would do woodworking, and so I'd give him all my blades because they'd be dull at the end, but the other end they're fine,
right?
Because he would carve with them, so I was like,
yeah, I use them. It's amazing. I use them for everything. I have drawers full of these things because I use them to unpack stuff, cutting like a box cutter. I use them to do our recycling. I have them in my car, in my jacket. I'm always finding, uses for these things. I just got some furniture today and it's all wrapped up in plastic. And it's just, I've been using the scalpel to unwrap everything. So
I see a lot of people using the slide cutters. What do they call, like the box cutters?
Yeah.
And I see other makers using those in their YouTube videos, and I sliced my thumb up pretty good about a year ago using one of those. I won't go near them. I prefer my X-Acto blade.
Well, they're big. I've seen people using those. I mean, it feels like you're using, stone tools or something when you're using one of the box cutters.
Right.
So, because when we learn to do, these things on people,
right.
it's a very fine instrument to use. So anyway, yeah, I see guys, there's a guy on YouTube who unboxes like his hot toys and things like that. And he's using a giant like knife, like a Bowie knife or whatever. And I'm just, what are you doing? You're going to cut right through the box and the figure and everything.
There's this maker that makes these amazing foam and resin cast dioramas, and she will get out the blade and extend it all the way and cut her foam. And I'm just like, no, thank you. I don't want to get near that blade.
Yeah. Well, while we're waiting for Gabe to come back, what else are you working on right now?
Well, let's see. I just finished today.
Mm-hmm.
Just finished this guy.
Oh, nice.
And it's supposed to be the scene from is it Corvus when Mando meets Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the rock for
for
Grogu to
Grogu.
sit on, and
That's beautiful.
Thank you. And I learned a trick for the foam.
Mm-hmm.
So I cut it down and kind of shaped it, but to get all the texture, I use a spray bottle and water, and you spray it on the foam, and then you take like the little torch, like you would do for your creme brulee or whatever, and you spray that, you hit that, and it won't touch any place with the water.
So it creates a texture.
It's this nice texture. And then this is really my first time playing with all the grass and stuff. And then I blew on, it's the dirt, it's the black dirt you can get, but I put that all over the rock or the twigs here to kind of give them that dark look.
So and just out of curiosity,
I'm sorry.
Just out of curiosity, for the grass, did you use one of those electrostatic?
I did.
Oh, that's amazing, because I see that for they advertise that a lot for people who do the trains.
Yes.
And they do the landscaping for their train sets, and I've never used something like that. I mean, does it really? I mean, it looks amazing on camera.
Yeah,
I mean, from here,
it's so easy. It's so easy to do. Because you just put it in the thing, and there's another little piece you put on or on your diorama or whatever you're going to grass, and you shake it, and that creates this electrostatic charge, and it goes down really well. And the background actually made on what is it called? Midjourney.
Okay.
If you've ever used Midjourney, it's the AI, and there's Dolly 2 is another one.
Yes.
And you go in and you just type in prompt. Well, I spent a lot of time just refining it, but then this is the one I ended up using.
Oh, that is awesome. Well, I really love the rocks. They look so real, the shape and everything. I mean, it's that's a great technique. I'm going to have to try that.
Yeah, I found it on what's his name? He's the room builder guy on YouTube, and then he found Smuggler's Room. Yeah, Brian Smuggler's Room. He was doing it on a thing he's building, but he found it from I think Van Oak Props that does all the Halloween stuff.
Yeah,
so that's where I learned it.
Very cool.
Do I look a little? Am I still choppy or no?
It's still a little pixelated.
Yeah,
I don't know. Is your laptop? I'm assuming you're on Wi-Fi. Oh, no.
Lose him?
Now we've lost him altogether.
Yeah,
he's frozen. Those new laptops don't usually have an Ethernet port. So, okay, that's better. A little bit
better.
A little bit better.
Yeah, now it's better.
Which is weird because now I'm on Wi-Fi. So before I was hardwired in.
Oh, you were.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's why we've been having issues. So we have the Eero,
Oh, the network, the Wi-Fi mesh.
Network. Yeah, and just recently we've been having some issues with it. Like maybe the last or maybe 2 weeks. Because I'm standing literally right next to the router, so there's no way it could be this slow, But you never know with this stuff.
Yeah.
Plus, we have like a million devices, all hooked up, So
yeah.
Check your settings on StreamYard. Yeah, it might be. Yeah, we had the Orbi, and Orbi, we had that for a little while too. And kind of the same thing, right? I think the problem is that our house, everything is connected, right? Like we have all the Alexas everywhere. obviously all the kids have all, a bunch of devices on. So
when we built our house, I didn't mess around. I put Ethernet ports all over. I have 96 Ethernet ports around.
Wow.
Because the way I figured, if you hardwire as much as you can, so you leave the Wi-Fi free for your devices that can't be hardwired, like a phone or an iPad. And then I put, instead of getting one of those consumer, mesh networks like the Google Wi-Fi or the Eero,
right,
I actually got one by Luxol, which is the commercial one that you'll find in like hospitals and buildings. And I put the wireless access ports on the ceiling around the house. So they, it's like in the room, it's like you see your fire detector and then your wireless access.
yeah,
And
wow.
yeah, it's very robust. It's really nice. So
Nice. Well, I was hoping to show like these videos, but none of these videos, they like turn super bright on me. And again, I think I record them on the phone, but I can show them on my phone. But basically, I wanted to show how to clean up the parts, right, and all the stuff because that's kind of the more important thing. So these are some of the basic tools that you probably need, right? You need a little needle file set, a little razor. That's a truck that I got thinking that the wheel was going to be chrome and some of the part, but it ended up being not chrome. So yeah, just some light grit sandpaper, that glue, and then obviously the needle,
the weld on.
Yeah, the weld on. Need that.
I love that stuff. I wish it was a little thicker.
Right?
Actually, the weld on 6 is more like a gel.
Yeah.
And that stuff works well too.
Although for the acrylic though, I think I shot a little video of me putting that stuff on. Let me see.
The weld on 3, it hardens initially within what, a minute?
Yeah, if you just like run it, right? Like you just run it across.
Yeah.
And it literally solidifies in like a couple seconds. Like, and it's on there. And it's probably what they use to build the acrylic cases, right? I'm assuming,
yeah.
Yeah.
In my diorama stuff, that's what I use. I use the weld on 3.
Yeah. Scott, I actually found really good a good way to chrome it. I'll bring the part right now so you guys can check it out. Hold on. But yeah, basically it's a little spray that I found at Hobby Lobby, and it's specifically for chroming stuff. And yeah, it ended up working great. I mean, it looks like cheap chrome, which you would expect from a model, right? Like, that weird plasticky chrome.
Yeah.
So it's like perfect. It's exactly how like a model little chrome piece should look. But yeah, no, I bought the paint pens. I did one of the paint pens. The problem is that it wasn't shiny enough. Like there wasn't that kind of mirrored chrome look.
You're talking about the Molotov paint pens?
Yeah. So I ended up buying one, and at first I was like, "Oh, this is great! Like this is gonna work good." But I found it better. So let me go pull.
Oh, what did you find?
Give me a second. Let me go grab it real quick.
Okay. I was also going to mention for the viewers, I heard you guys talking about weld on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's great. And that's probably what you should use for this because of the strength of the bond.
Right.
But one of the things that I've discovered recently that I've really enjoyed using that some people might find useful, not necessarily for this, but I noticed because the acrylic parts are clear, I found this to be very useful. And that is they make UV activated glue that is clear, and it's actually used for fly fishing.
Oh.
And so what I do is for the people who tie flies and stuff. So what I've been doing is for any clear acrylic parts, you can apply the glue, and this stuff is clear, but it doesn't set until it's exposed to UV light. so you can adjust your parts and everything. Oh, what? Oh, Krylon.
Krylon medium metallic.
But it's this very specific, like original chrome DIY, and it's like for frames. But look how. Let's see if I can make myself. I'll give it a solo here.
Oh yeah.
Oh, very
see,
nice.
See what I'm talking about? Like the mirror finish, like the gloss of it. So yeah, so I mean, it came out great.
$8.70 on Amazon.
Oh, that stuff, yeah. But it literally, like, with maybe I did like maybe 4 passes, it like covered it, and it was worked out great.
Nice. So sorry, I was. Let me finish about the glue. So the great thing about these glues is that you can adjust the part. You can take as long as you want, and then the moment you hit it with the UV light, within seconds it's bonded, it's cured.
Yeah.
So the only kicker is if you have 2 opaque parts and you're trying to put them together, you can't get any UV light to it. But that's why it's great for these clear acrylic applications. Now, it's not, I was saying it's not as the weld-on, but they're great to use. So I use them all the time for my clear acrylic parts.
What's that called? What's that product called?
Well, all you have to do is just look up UV activated glue.
Okay.
The one that I use here, I'll tell you, I'd have to look it up, but the one that I use, it just says UV. It's UV glue.
Okay.
Yeah. And they come in 3 different thicknesses. This is thin, they have a medium, and then they have thick. And the thick one, the use for that, which is really cool, is if you're making, I mean, this doesn't apply to the Star Wars ships as much as Star Trek ships, but you know, if you're putting windows in a model, so you'll drill the holes for the light to come through. But if you don't fill them, then you get this weird thing if the LED is behind it, you know, it just doesn't carry the light. So what you can do, a lot of people do things differently, right? Some people do fiber optic, they'll put fiber optics in there and then cut them off. Some people do the whole thing and then they'll either use canopy glue, which is basically like, you know, like the Elmer's glue because it dries, you know, clear. But some people use this. You can fill it with a thick, you know, this thick UV glue, and then you hit it with the UV light and boom, it's solidified. Other people use dental acrylic, where it's like a powder and an activator, and you mix them and you put it in there, and then it hardens and you can sand it to a clear finish. So I mean, everybody does things a little differently, but I've just loved using that glue. And there's something satisfying about being able to just manipulate something, and then once you get it where you want it, boom, you hit it with the light and you're done.
Because that's huge, especially for this one, because a lot of the little angles are so like tiny little shifts that you need to do. And by the time if you mess up like in a split second, the super glue or whatever glue you're using dries up, and then you're gonna have to snap it off.
Yeah. So maybe I can send you guys a link if you want to the glue that I got.
Yeah,
this stuff is nice because it's the one that fly fishermen use, so it's like waterproof, and you know.
Maybe just put it in the Facebook group.
Oh, okay.
So anybody who's like old one knows what's up.
Yeah, they have other ones too. The one that I know some modelers use is called Solar Res. Oh, it doesn't cost much. Here, let me show you the other one. I mean, this is the light that I use. I mean, you know, that's a UV light. And then the one that a lot of people use is this one. It's called Solar Res.
Yeah, that's the one you use.
Yeah, so it's very useful. And then for super glue, if you're in the market for a good super glue, this one is the one that I use, Bob Smith Industries.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, I recommend his stuff.
Yeah.
He's got a good foam. His foam super glue is great too. It doesn't melt the foam. The brown one.
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, so I mean, there's all kinds of glues that people use, but I've had good luck with these. I've really enjoyed using them. So yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the thing is just kind of getting kind of just ready, right? Like just prepping up to get the model going is the part that takes the longest part. Brian and I were just talking about getting the little I guess the I don't know what the bolt, right? And with the screw and getting the original ones, right? Or like some type of brass one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so I don't know if anybody knows or kind of the research that's been going into it, but I think all the little stand, the little tripod little
Right.
stand, they're actually lamp part. So they're like the internal parts of a lamp. And so if you go into like a lighting supply site and put in brass parts, you'll find a lot of the parts. So you could definitely get kind of found parts to replace the resin ones. I think the hardest that hasn't been identified is the part, right? The middle part. And I think so. I've been kind of researching it, and I think it's like one of those hanging lights. I think they're called pennant light, but they're the ones with the glass dome on it, and then and the little circles, just like it goes on there, and then you screw it in to hold the dome or the glass shade. And I found a couple of them that are very close, but they're chrome. They're not brass. So I'm sure there's some specific type that Colin Cowell used that he probably just had laying around. He was like, okay, I'm gonna take this part and then this is stand. Is the included CD the instructions?
Yes.
Yeah, open on my Mac either. So Brian, is it just the same exact?
It's the same exact. It's there's a JPEG of the little graphic with all the parts, and then there's the PDF of the instructions, which is on the website. It's just it's a duplicate.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so yeah, so if it doesn't open, obviously you just get it on the website. Armando, how far are you into it? Did you already start it? I'm really bummed I can't show you guys these videos. I've taken a bunch of videos, but it looks really bad on this. Let me try it again. Yeah, I don't know what the heck. You see how it's all out?
Yeah.
Is it, Gabe, is it that way on your computer too?
I mean, it's bright, but it's not. It doesn't look like that.
Oh.
It's like
is that the tape?
Yeah, I was gonna show the vintage tape thing that I got that I replaced it. So that's why it looks different, right? So
it's yellow.
Did you order your water stickers?
Yeah, I got the water stick. Got those.
I've got those coming.
I'll bring them over. So yeah, so these little parts, a lot of them are layered. So for example, like this little corner part, it's actually 3 different parts that you have to glue together to make. So yeah, Armando, I've been slacking on recording some of this stuff. So a lot of it I'm gonna just be having to talk over the images. But yeah, the little tape circle made a little bit of a difference. It's the same size. It's not like it's gonna really change. But I definitely suggest getting that part on pretty quick because a lot of the other parts rest on it. So, once you got that one, you could kind of start putting all the other easier to align all the back parts too. Once you have a center point that you could reference everything off of. My image is still really pixelated. Man, I don't know what. Am I still super pixelated?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, man. See if I could find a different. Maybe I'm gonna forget this Wi-Fi and then try to reconnect. Give me a second.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, I was gonna say, Scott, I'll also send you a link if you want to that UV glue.
Yeah.
And some of the other stuff that I use for this. But yeah, the materials that are available now, to do all of this kind of stuff, it's really amazing. I mean, I feel like I discover something new every week.
Right.
Some new material. I mean, like he's showing that the Krylon that he's using, right? But man, the amount of chrome, I mean, there's that, all the traditional paints, and now they have those Molotov paint pens, and they have the Alumoluster that they use for the Mandalorian armor.
Right.
And I mean, there're just so many different kinds of, materials that are available. The other ones that I've been playing with recently that I've really loved are the blacks, the new black paints that are available.
Oh,
that are like Musu black and Vanta black, and these are the blacks that are like, they absorb like 99.9% of the light.
Oh yeah.
So they're like so black, they're like the blackest black that you can have, and it's weird because they absorb so much light that you don't actually see any details on the surface because they don't reflect any light. So if you paint, you can brush them on. You don't even have to airbrush them. You can brush it, but you don't see the brush marks because they're not reflecting any light.
Yeah, I use the black 3.0 around my edges, and that stuff doesn't reflect. It's the same kind of deal. It doesn't reflect anything.
Yeah, it just looks like a void.
Yeah.
Are those your Molotov, or are those some? Wait, I can't tell.
David sent these. I guess they're liquid chrome.
Oh, yeah, that's the Molotov that I was telling you about.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
They got the M on them.
Yeah. I had pretty good luck with them. The problem with the Molotov. So here's what you have to do with Molotov. This is the best finish that you get is if you get the Molotov refills. So it's not the pen, it's a refill, and then you airbrush it on.
Right.
But the problem is it takes months to fully cure. So I don't know if you remember, but you remember that gun that I was working on with Daniel Beck in Germany, the Men in Black gun?
Yeah.
And he painted the chrome parts with Molotov. And when he sent it to me, the packing material had left an impression of the pattern of the packing material on the Molotov.
Oh, I remember you talking about that. Yeah.
And then I went to wipe off a fingerprint with a microfiber cloth, and it just totally destroyed the finish.
Yeah.
So did
it turn black?
It didn't turn black. It looked like I took steel wool to it. And it was a microfiber cloth. So anyway, what happened though is that he experimented a little bit more, and I had heard this from somebody else. You have to give it like months, like 3 months to fully cure, and then it's fine. So yeah, but that's the key. You got to take the Molotov paint refills, and you have to airbrush it on. But if you're happy with the Krylon, then
yeah, I mean it came out. I mean, it came out perfect because the problem with the pens that I could see is that you're gonna have to get in between those little cracks, right? Like in the back.
Yeah.
And I think that might be a pain to kind of get in those little crevices,
Did Jason use on his original build? Did he use the original chrome model part? He must have used that.
Probably, yeah. And I think the vintage one of that model that I showed earlier, I think vintage one, which is like $250, I think on eBay, you can find them. I think those with the actual chrome wheel.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but if you are game, buy the Molotov paint refill. I think they're like 30 mils or something. It's a big. It looks like a pen, but it's not. Yeah. And then you can just drop that in. You can squeeze it into your airbrush. and then just brush it on.
Just brush it on.
Brian, have you ever done that?
No, but I know what you're talking about, though. I've seen Adam Savage do that on Tested.
Oh, he's done that with the Molotov? Oh, okay. Yeah, and the finish is amazing. I mean, I was really disappointed when I received mine and that happened. And then I sent it back to Daniel because he wanted to strip the parts and use something else. And then he ended up using a Lumiluster, which looks cool, but it's a darker paint finish. It looks more like a gunmetal. It's just not as chrome. So.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, that spray paint ended up working really well for me. So
yeah.
And obviously try a bunch of different things, and see what, especially make sure it sticks, right? Because like you're saying, Joseph, like if or it sticks too. That's the only thing about the paint that I guess I didn't use those. I ended up using some other chrome paint. But it was harder to get a smooth surface because you still see the streaks a little bit.
Yeah, no, you have to spray it on. You can't use paint pens. Yeah. Man. So, and there are a lot of chrome and silver paint pens out there.
No. Right.
So, and I've tried to use a lot of these different, sometimes, you can even get a good finish with, I mean, it's more silver than chrome, but like even using the Sharpie metallics.
Yeah.
They leave a nicer finish, or a more uniform finish. So it just depends. The Deco paint pens, they make a silver too, but the Molotov in pen form is the one that I think has given the most reflective finish.
Joseph's.
Troy's. Hey. Hey, Troy.
Oh, children screaming in the background. So I wish I could show you. I can't show you this apparently. I think I'm gonna have to go back to my old setup next week, and not use this laptop. But yeah, so basically, right? Do you still have any parts that are not cleaned up, Brian? Or pretty much
I cleaned them all. But yeah, I don't, unfortunately. Like I was saying earlier, some of it just comes off with your thumb. It's so that extra so thin. And then others were like a millimeter thick.
This is the part that I was telling you that you guys have to cut. So what I did is I literally just scored a line and then just put some pressure on it. This is after I'm just kind of showing how I put it, but I had already done. So that was probably the hardest thing to figure out, right? I mean, not figure out, but you want to get it as clean cut as possible.
How did you cut your hole in this guy?
You know what?
You haven't done it yet?
No, I've been building those parts kind of separately, and then at the end I'm gonna just drill it and put the little screw part.
I think I'll just take my hand drill to it and then
file
it open.
I think that's probably the easiest way, right? Just get a normal little drill bit and file it.
On this guy, we were talking about.
Yeah,
this is the threaded piece.
Do
you think? Because this goes up into the base, like here,
right,
and the other end then goes into the gun that's below. But then in his model, in the original model, it goes through the gun to that other stand.
Right, so you got to drill a hole on the bottom.
Yeah,
that's what I'm nervous about right now. I'm trying to figure that part out.
Yeah,
I'm probably just gonna do it with the Dremel.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's probably that's an even better option than taking the hand drill. More precise.
So this is what I was talking about, just cleaning it up. It's like you literally just scrape the edges. The thing is that they're casted so well that there's really not much pressure that you need to knock off the edges.
Yeah.
So,
Gabe, what kind of a Dremel are you using?
The actual Dremel brand. I just don't know what what number it is. It's like,
is it like the big one?
it's a plug-in one, so it's not a wireless one. It's a plug-in.
Oh,
So
okay. Here,
I
let
think
me show you. Let me show you something that I use. Some of you guys might find this more easy to use for detail work.
Yeah, Scott,
step it. Yeah.
Yeah, step. The problem is that again, you're gonna have to. That's a good one.
This is really nice because it's very small and you have a lot of control over it.
Like
so it's so it's very useful. I use it a lot for a lot of applications. I have the larger one that I fit into a drill press, but this one is really nice to use for fine detail work.
Mine's smaller than that one, I think.
I definitely. So the step it might be too much pressure that you end up putting, because you got to remember these little parts, especially the one that you have to drill. It's two separate parts that are put together. Yeah. So you're gonna end up putting a lot of pressure on it to even just get through it. So David says, definitely, does not recommend using a regular drill bit. Yeah, I don't gotta do that either. You definitely gotta like sand it. I think a little Dremel, the little cone shaped one. I think that's probably perfect. It's like, and you just, because the plastic's not that thick. Right?
No, not very thick at all.
No.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's why I have it.
So no, absolutely. I'm kind of just waiting to see, who else gets this kit. It'd be really cool to get a little group going, share tips and stuff. So, especially that's the part that I've been kind of struggling with, trying to figure out the right paint to use. Just because again, the references they're all different. Some are washed out with the light, some of them are dark. I mean, obviously we could use Jason's as the reference to do it, but even then, I mean, we don't know the lighting he was using. Like,
I was thinking about going with the Archive X, like the Reefer Gray or whatever.
The Reefer Gray, vintage like Flowquo Reefer Gray, and it looks like it's pretty close. Especially after you thin it out, because obviously the flow are enamel. Yeah. So I'm sure maybe once you thin it out, it might lighten up a little bit. But
for those of you, for those of you who are going to be airbrushing and I mean, you're going to have to mix to get the color that you want. Right. But the paints that I love using are the Vallejo Model Air paints. Yeah. Okay. Because they're pre-thinned for airbrushing. So you drop them from the dropper right into the cup. Yeah. And then you just start, and they lay on so nice. Yeah. They're silky smooth.
That's what I use as well. And
that's what you use? Yeah. I know. I think Jason uses Tamiya paints, but I mean, you got to thin them yourself, and you got to know, if you're not adept at doing that kind of stuff. I remember when I first got back into model building, all the references you read, they always say, thin the paint to the consistency of milk.
Yeah.
But it was always one of those things like, well, what the hell does that mean? Yeah. Like, I mean, skim milk?
Yeah.
2%, 3.8, whole milk? Like what do they mean by this, right? Mm-hmm. So I really actually like using the Vallejo Model Air because I don't have to think about it. I just drop it into and it just lays it down so smoothly.
Yeah. The Falcon I have over my shoulder, that's all Vallejo Air.
Ah, okay.
1/72.
Is that the Bandai one?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the perfect grade?
Perfect grade. And then I did a couple mods to it.
Yeah. That's a beautiful Bandai kits are so nice.
Yeah. I saw another one at Celebration because I built this one and I wanted to build another one. And they had them at Celebration in the Bandai. And I'm like, and I was like, I already spent a ton of money. And I was like,
yeah,
I should have bought buy it when you see it. I should have bought one.
Did you see the Bandai, the organic almond milk?
The diorama there, yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah, the diorama at Celebration. God, that was beautiful. Gabe,
Yeah.
did you? If I send you some pictures, can you show them?
I'll try. Yeah.
Okay, I know this isn't the forum for it, but
Show 'em.
let me see if I can find it.
I started watching. There's another YouTuber who's he's out of England building studio scale mostly
Yeah.
stuff, and then he was working on one of his videos. He's been painting a Bandai Falcon, and it's like his fourth one he's done.
Who is it?
I can figure it out here in a second. Let me go to my history, but I think it was on a commission build. But I was watching him. I'm like, oh, I need to do another one.
Yeah, it's a beautiful. This is the one here, Gabe. I'm sending you these pictures. These are the like detailed pictures from Celebration of the Bandai kit.
Okay.
Yeah, his name is John Simmons Scale.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah. I've seen his stuff. He's an amazing builder and painter. Yeah. Actually, Chris Benware just got a piece from him, a Death Star tower, a huge one, and it's.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's beautifully done. Yeah. I don't. It wasn't a commission piece. It was his. John Simmons built it for himself, and then Chris was able to, get him to part with it, and it's it's a beautiful piece.
All right, let me pull these up.
I was watching his painting on there. I was like, absorbing all that knowledge.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a talent. I mean, Jason. It's too bad he couldn't be on with us tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, his painting is just mind blowing, and Mike Salzo's painting is just I mean, his pieces are right here next to me, and I mean, I wish I could do those things, but
all right, let me.
As a designer, I've done some of that. I've done a lot of that in my design work, but when I started building dioramas like 3 years ago, when I started, I didn't know what I was doing, but at every one I've learned more and more and more, and watching people at the end. So.
See, I like that. The wife encouraged the dad joke.
Yeah, thank you, Robin. Thanks, Ben. I'll keep that in mind.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah.
There's Matt pondering.
Yes, that was Matt looking at that, but there's one I think I took. Yeah, well, you'll see the other ones, but I mean I'm assuming that this was done by one of the Japanese model builders. Those guys are just
most likely.
Yeah, but there's Gabe. If you go, there's one of the entire diorama with the
See, I made my landing gear. The leg.
Oh, cool.
That's the stand.
That's awesome. Yeah, look at that.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is so cool. What do you think they use? Just like that thick foam, like the.
Oh, what to make the diorama?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure that's all 3D printed, and when you're talking about Bandai, right? So I'm sure they've got a whole army of people that are working on this.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's a beautiful display. I even love how they did the cut section there. You can see all the panel detail and stuff on it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a beautiful piece. And then the detail work on the painting is just fantastic. But Bandai models, for those of you who haven't, I know Marcel kind of got some of those and has been building them. The Bandai models are just a pleasure to put together. They're they're so satisfying because everything goes together so beautifully.
Right.
You know, they just, yeah.
I just picked up the Slave 1 the other day. So I'm looking. So and then I've been watching. That's why I got onto the other guy. Where was it? John Simmons, because he had painted one.
Mm-hmm.
So I was watching other makers to look at their paint.
Yeah.
My wife also likes to build. She builds Gundam models, so I don't know if you guys have heard.
Wow.
And those are all from Bandai, and those are they're just such a pleasure, right? Everything goes together. They snap together, and the seams almost disappear. They're so well engineered.
Right.
Yeah.
I love seeing parts, you know, that you recognize, right? Like there's I could immediately already, like these little cylinders right in the middle, like they're used in the T16.
Yeah.
And then these like little weird gun things right here. You actually, for the T16, you clip the front part and it ends up being these little you can't really see, it's hard to see, these little tubes that are sticking out are actually, looks like that same part chopped.
Yeah.
I think that's the coolest part about Star Wars models, right? Is that a lot of them are kit bash from the same kit.
Yeah. Yeah. So for those of you, I mean, resin models are really, they're a difficult thing to start with.
Right.
So for anybody who's starting in model building, I highly recommend the Bandai or Tamiya model kits. But Tamiya doesn't make this kind of stuff. They make airplanes and tanks and stuff. But Bandai, I mean, the Japanese companies just do amazing stuff.
I tried to get.
And I had a Star Trek license too back in the early 2000s and produced some amazing kits, but they don't do it anymore.
Wow.
I tried to get the Rebel Mando, was it Razor Crest but it's out of. I guess they don't have the license to sell in the U.S. They won't ship to the U.S. from Germany.
Oh, are you talking about the
1/72 scale?
The Revell. The
Revell. Yeah.
Maybe you can buy it through Cult TV Man.
Yeah. Actually, I told my sister's actually living over there in Germany. So I was like, hey, go buy this for me and ship it to me.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So you can get it from Cult TV Man, and Monsters in Motion is selling it.
David said these. He said these are the drill bits he used for the Trent. And he said those work really well for
the what?
He used those for that remote, the training remote. The
Trent. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I still think for this one specifically, how the parts lay together, it might be better with just a Dremel though, just so you can get that sanding speed, and they'll just be like, or at least just to get that.
Did you put a bevel on some of your pieces that were at the angle? Did you sand a bevel into them, or do you think you needed it?
I haven't done that. The only part, like I said, that I had to sand down is one to make it a little bit thinner.
Okay.
But nothing else.
I saw something I was glancing the instructions before we came on, and he said there was something where he beveled it, but I wasn't sure which piece that was.
Yeah. So, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah, because Scott was saying to use those step bits, but I'm telling you, I think that's still too much pressure to put onto those parts, because it's not a flat part. You got to remember these are all parts that are literally just held on by these tiny little like clips, right? It's the motor, it's the engine part of a car, or the car model. So where you have to drill the hole is actually right in the middle of those two parts. So literally you could feel it. Do you have the two parts right there?
So you put this one on top of here, and then you got to drill through there. So I just made a mark with a pen.
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna take the Dremel and just kind of drill it out and then file it out.
Yeah, the step it might be okay for that part because you have something to at least like support it right, push through. But the problem is that once you get to a certain spot, it's the depth of it, right? Because you're still gonna have to go through the bottom part. But I'm talking about the motor because that's the scariest part. Because you're gonna have to put the motor together and act.
I should put it to go. Yeah,
you got to hold it together and then kind of drill it through. So that's the part that I'm saying.
Where the gun is.
Yeah, exactly. The bottom gun. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that a drill bit might be too harsh for that part.
Oh yeah, that would be.
But I mean, honestly, look, whatever. Yeah, don't spend.
How large?
You can do it.
How large of a diameter of a hole are you trying to drill?
It's pretty much the same diameter of that thing. So it gets what 3/8 maybe.
I got a ruler here. Hold on. Where'd it go?
So here's the other thing that you can try if you're worried about doing something like that and you want to be delicate. You can use a pin vise and use a small drill bit and do it by hand.
That's probably
drill your pilot, and then you can use the larger bit. You can still do it by hand. I mean, it'll take some time, but you're not risking destroying your part.
Right. Because if you destroy that part, I mean, I'm sure John, if you hit it right, I'm sure he'll sell you just a little individual part, but still, like, you don't want to do that. So what size was that? Do you think?
3/8.
It is 3/8. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's 3/8. I mean, you might be able to do that thinner long one, and just maybe at first do it with a lot of speed, right? So it like really goes through. The problem too is that the heat of it, right? You also these are very delicate parts. You might end up melting it if you're putting too much heat on.
Yeah, just be careful using those power drills on stuff. It's better to take your time, do it by hand. If you use a drill bit and you just turn it by hand, I mean, you'll eventually, you'll drill through. It just doesn't, Yeah,
it's not super thick plastic, and that's the thing. Like, it literally feels like the model. Like if you were to get a model, and some parts actually just snap really quick. That's actually happened to me a couple times, where one of them was kind of bent a little bit, and I was like, oh, let me see if I can kind of straighten it out, and pop, and it just like snaps. So I have to
you got to put it in hot water.
Yeah,
because I'm assuming these are resin parts. So if you put them in hot water, they'll soften up. You can adjust them, and then you can put them in cold water.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. And it's only have one or two parts, the ones that have the little gun end of it. Everything else is pretty freaking good.
Yeah,
so
I had one piece crack on me or kind of snap in two.
Yeah,
while I was still on the piece, and so I just put a little super glue and kicker on there, and then I was able to cut it off.
Yeah, and most of it's hidden, right? Once you start painting it, everything's gonna get painted either white or probably white is probably more likely than not what's gonna break, right? Something on the under part of it. Yeah. So I'm kind of excited to get to the painting part of it. So just got to find a little screw piece, the little bolt.
Yeah.
Some of those metallic parts.
Very cool. I'm excited to see what everybody comes up with on these things. And the beauty of Star Wars models, now granted, a lot of people may want to do this clean, right? Like the original. Yeah. But the beauty of Star Wars models is that all the weathering and damage and all of that, it hides a world of sins. So if you make mistakes, that's the best way to get rid of them, is to just weather the model, and then you just don't see those things.
Yeah. So. And that's the part that was stressing me out, right? I wanted it so clean and so like nice, just like the Cantwell one. But I'm really hoping maybe David can help us, or I'll try to figure it out, but I want to see some good screenshots of the one in A New Hope,
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I didn't want to be a super. I'm kind of bummed out that Jason and the gang couldn't jump on. So
they're an entertaining bunch. It would have been nice if they were on here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, and we had so many questions for him and them. So hopefully, we'll be able to get him on eventually and get him to answer some questions. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, we're already at the hour and a half mark about, so we'll probably cut it short so I could go watch the Padres game. It technically is an elimination game for the Dodgers. So
Oh wow.
yeah, so if the Padres win, Dodgers are out. And that's a big deal. So
that is a big deal.
yeah. Cool. Well, guys, Joseph, Brian, thank you for jumping on with me.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be
Great
on.
to meet you, Joseph.
And chat. It's great to meet you too. Yeah, we've never met face to face like this before.
Yeah. No. Brian hasn't been on like this. So yeah, thank you for jumping on. And yeah, we'll probably see you guys on our midweek show.
Yeah.
Midweek show. We'll see. I gotta see, because I was telling Joseph and Brian, I started jury trial this next week. So usually, I get really kind of involved. So, but if anything, maybe Michael will jump on with a couple of you guys too.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Cool, guys.
Very cool.
All right. Well, everyone, have a great night and enjoy the rest of your weekend. And we'll see you guys a few days.
All right. Thanks.
See you guys.
Have a good night.